So how important is squat depth? Really? All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Joe. If this is your first time here, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. I'd really appreciate it. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button as well. That would really help me out. And today, I want to talk about squat depth and how important or not important it is. And at the end of the day, here it is. It's not that important. It really isn't. All right. Let's talk about some key points here. The first is what type of training you're doing. If you look at Dr. Mike Israetel, he advocates a full range of motion when it comes to hypertrophy, for optimal hypertrophy. He's absolutely right. And if you look at videos of him squatting, all right, he's going down really deep, as far down as pretty much any person can possibly go. But one caveat here, and this is something he absolutely would not only agree with, but has talked about himself. He's able to squat down that low because he's able to handle it. His joints are perfectly healthy, he has the mobility for it, and his overall structure and mechanics can handle it. His body can handle that, okay? And it's not gonna lead to injury for him. Or if it does, it's still something that he can recover from. Okay, just recently he had a little hamstring issue. He was still able to squat, not as deep, but still pretty deep. Okay, but then he recovered from it. He was able to go back to that full range of motion that he does. Okay, but does that mean that you necessarily need to be squatting that deep? Not necessarily. And that's because everybody is different. If you don't have the mobility or flexibility, or your joints aren't that healthy, especially your hips or knee joints, do you need to go that deep? No. I wouldn't necessarily even advocate for you or recommend you doing that. And neither would Dr. Mike Israetel. Okay? You should be squatting down to what your body can actually handle, especially as the loads get heavier and heavier and heavier. Okay, if you are a power lifter, okay, competing in powerlifting, you're actually doing competitions, your main goal is to squat down to where a judge confirms is a good lift and you get the 3 white lights, right? Which is often right around parallel. And that's just because that's what, 3 guys determined in the 60s when they invented powerlifting. All right? At the end of the day, guys, here's the main thing. Squat depth doesn't actually matter as much as you might think. Down below, I'm linking an article that was written by J.L. Holdsworth and Jeff Zerbitz, I believe that's his name. They talk about how the squat depth really isn't something you should be worrying about. It's really not important at all, okay? This doesn't mean that you should be squatting down to just quarter squats and that's perfectly fine. No, you should be squatting more than that, but at the end of the day, it's not as important as you might think, okay? Go and read that article, okay? Again, it's linked down below. It's an immensely important article. I fully agree with everything that they say, and so would Mike Israetel, by the way. He absolutely would. And in that article, they talk about the importance of a full range of motion for getting the full stimulus out of whatever lift you're doing, with squat, bench press, whatever it is, getting the full range of motion, but again, in relation to what your body can actually handle, okay, that you're not gonna end up injuring yourself. It talks about also in relation to athletes. If you're an athlete who's competing in a sport, let's say you're a football player, are you gonna squat that deep? No, you're not. Okay, let's say, and again, they talk about this in the article, and it's a great example, which is if you're a lineman, offensive or defensive lineman, these humongous guys, okay, if you try as a strength coach to make an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman to squat that deep, you're gonna end their career. Their bodies cannot handle that at all. They're immensely strong guys. They could squat a huge amount, but not at that depth, okay? That's gonna ruin their joints. That's gonna ruin their athletic ability, all right? If you're a power lifter, again, you're not gonna be squatting that deep because you don't need to. And you'll never see a guy who squats 900 pounds squatting that deep. It doesn't happen, okay? Because their body's not gonna be able to handle it. No person, no matter how strong they can squat with 900 pounds on their back that deep. This is, it's a generalization. Maybe there's 1 or 2 people in the world that can do it, but in general, people can't do that. The only time really that it can make sense for you to squat that deep is 2 really. One is like Mike Israetel, if you're training for hypertrophy mainly, and your body can handle it, your joints can handle it, they're healthy, your mobility is good. All right. And then the second time really is if you're a weightlifter, you're competing in the Olympic lifts, Olympic weightlifting, okay? Not necessarily at the Olympic level, but those type of lifts in weightlifting competitions, okay? In that case, then yeah, you need to be squatting that low, or at least try to in your training quite a bit, because you have to squat that low when you do the catch in the snatch or the clean and jerk, okay? That's where they catch the barbell. They squat that low to catch it, because that's what optimal technique is for that, you know, for those lifts. So in that case, yeah, they need the mobility and to be squatting that low in order to handle it. But other than that, other than those two scenarios, guys, is it really that important for you to be squatting that deep? No, not really. You know, it really isn't. The main point is, guys, and it reiterates in this article I linked down below, is that squat depth overall just isn't that important. It really isn't. You don't want to be squatting to a quarter rep, like I said, all right? But you squat down to where your body can handle it, that you feel like you're getting a great stimulus out of it, and then don't worry about it, okay? 10, 15 years from now, a lot of you guys may not be squatting at all, or may not be barbell squatting at all. You may be doing a goblet squat primarily. I personally can handle a goblet squat a lot better than a barbell squat in terms of depth. Okay, I have better mobility and better mechanics when it comes to the goblet squat than I do with a barbell. Right? I can't get that deep in a barbell squat. One, because my mobility and flexibility honestly isn't that great. It's just not something that I have honestly emphasized a whole lot in my training. You know, it's immensely important, really. It's just I should have, but I honestly haven't all that much. But the other thing is, because of my kyphosis, my shoulders and my back is rounded forward like this, and the deeper I squat, the more I end up leaning forward, which is not optimal and puts that much more pressure on my spine, especially lumbar spine, which spells disaster a lot of times. Again, it all depends on use. If you're able to handle it, great. If it goes in line with your training, great, go for it. Otherwise, don't worry about it. Squat to where you're comfortable and healthy and your body's able to handle it too. Or don't squat at all, do something else, okay? Again, you can do variations. Instead of with a barbell, do goblet squats. Lunges, leg press, hack squat. There's so many other things you can do that you don't necessarily need to do a barbell squat or squat at all. Again, depending on what your training is, all right? So, iteration here, the main takeaway for all this, don't worry about it. It's not that important. Really isn't. All right? So that is my video for today, guys. All right? I'm trying to post a little bit more often now. I think I'm going to be going back and forth between a video that's mainly advice like this and a review. I know you guys want more reviews from me. They are coming. Don't worry about it. Okay? Absolutely will be. That's going to be the next video, a new review. All right? But I'm just trying to post to get more content out there for you guys. All right? So I hope you guys found this video helpful today. And if there's a specific topic that you want me to go over for another advice video, you know, comment down below. Let me know. And I will see you guys next video.